Like, kill your speakers, yeah?
Probably a good thing they might have picked that up.
Mi familia y yo tuvimos un año de retraso.
This is nice. We're starting off with a bang.
You know what? It's the day.
Yes,
it's just the day. We're not even gonna do Make It with Stephanie because that'll just go sideways too.
Yes.
Can you kill your speakers? I need my jingle palette. But well, what?
Hell if I know. Ask me a question I can answer.
I don't want
Typical.
to. Shut up. This is gonna be an interesting show. I can't even spell right. Don't even. All right, we're going on Facebook. Enjoy Makeup with Non-Stephanie. What am I doing?
Hell if I know.
Wow. I love your attitude. Screw it.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on Newswire, on Twitch, Facebook, and
on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and share us all over your world. And head over to our Twitch account and hit that purple follow button too. And follow us on Instagram.
It's been one of those days.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of you have never had one.
Shut up.
But just about everything that could go wrong or sideways or come out of left field just about has happened today. But we'll soldier on as we usually do on the show, going back and forth on that. We'll have Susan Shelley coming up later on in the show. We'll have that. If there ever was a doofus of the chief of staff, Joe Biden sure got one. Ron Klain of that in some of the video hysterics of that. Not only to match to the $400,000 plus a year guy that's hosing us under the workbench, Anthony Fauci. I thought Dr. Kelly Victory was kidding when she was mentioning what she did yesterday about Fauci, but lo and behold, Kelly Victory was not saying what she did in jest, and we'll have the article up on that just to confirm that, because everybody says, well, where's the link to that, or where do you get this information, or, oh, Gavin Newsom. Don't. Can you give me a little joy?
I'm sorry. Do the voice. You know what? Do it. I'll make it louder too.
Wow.
I was hoping you were.
Now it's no fun because I can. Now you gave me permission to do it.
Don't do the voice.
Counterculture or counter works every time on that. But no, it's been some of the stuff that's been going on.
Oh.
Here's one of the things, and I just want to touch on this. All y'all that are hung up on this hand sanitizer stuff, this is on CBS 2 by Kate Gibson. Hundreds of Americans poisoned by hand sanitizer this month, including kids. Let's just see if the video is going to work today. As
we know you got your hands full at home.
Of that. We're even snorting.
Oh, crap.
On the deal. Let's see if we can get rid of the aforementioned stupid commercials that come up. Aren't those are just getting flat annoying on that. And it's a Walmart commercial. Do not shop at Walmart.
But if you would like to purchase a commercial. Just kidding.
Yes.
Why can't you shop at Walmart?
Because they run these annoying commercials on this when we're getting... After you get them off, they come back again. You get the setup, ready to go, and here we don't. We have the aforementioned. Hopefully,
Tonight,
here it is.
The Food and Drug Administration is recalling 75 brands of hand sanitizer, warning that the products many are using to ward off infection, maybe making users sick or even causing death if ingested. We've got more now from CBS's Chris Van Cleve.
Tonight, notices alerting Americans to a growing list of recalled hand sanitizers as doctors in Arizona and New Mexico are sounding the alarm. At least 11 are dead and more than 30 hospitalized after using contaminated hand sanitizer, many drinking it in the hopes of getting a buzz. The FDA is now investigating 75 products from Mexico claiming to contain ethanol, but instead have tested positive for methanol or wood alcohol. It's toxic when absorbed through the skin and life-threatening if consumed. CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus.
When COVID-19 came along, trusted brands went out the window for products in demand like hand sanitizer, and we took what we can get. And what you get is a lot of foreign-made hand sanitizers that do not have quality ingredients.
While the FDA was unable to tell CBS News how many bottles of bad sanitizer were sold, some were available at major retailers like Costco, Walmart, and CVS. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
Notice they did not.
Did they say that people drink it?
People are stupid.
And we're wondering why hand sanitizer is bad?
Well, if it says ethanol is grain alcohol, or what you drink. Ethanol is what you distill out of grain or whatever, and you drink. You can drink it, or you can use it as a disinfectant. Methanol is what we burn in sprint cars and midgets as the fuel, and as the aforementioned said, it's made out of wood or natural gas. And, well, it may give you a buzz like ethanol. It will either make it, at best, if you drink it, it will make you blind if you drink enough of it, or it will kill you because it is poisonous to you.
It'll make you blind.
And they did very mentionly briefly foreign-made sanitizers. What they didn't do, and if you go through the article on there, is this stuff came out of Mexico. They've been substituting methanol with ethanol, and when the label said it was made out of ethanol, so people were assuming the dingbats that are going to, this is a common thing like in jail or something. They do this. They'll take the alcohol out and, for that, because they can't just walk down and buy a Budweiser beer or whatever at their convenience, so they take the hand sanitizer and get the alcohol out of it or whatever, or people do that, who knows, they're passing out free hand sanitizer. Oh, well, people go, oh, well, we'll just drink the alcohol on it because it's ethanol. Oh, that's good.
Crazy.
Well, they substituted methanol, which is poisonous to you. If you put it on, just absorbing it through your skin can be potentially dangerous. Drinking it is really dangerous. So this is why, in one reason, you don't trust products that are made especially overseas on that, because you don't know what they are substituting for this, and a lot of times. And, people don't care about you. They're cared about getting the
And a lot of people don't
your...
read the... I've never read a label for hand sanitizer before. Don't judge me.
Well, and really,
but I mean, you buy it in the store, you think it's safe. I'm not going to go and drink it, though.
But even if you were,
it dries out my hands too much. I can't use it that much.
If you're doing it and it's got methanol in it, it's you're absorbing that through your skin, and it's poisonous to your body. You're absorbing that in your bloodstream. Just like you're getting it when you drink the alcohol, and it goes through your liver and kidneys and gets in your bloodstream, and you go, oh, things are much better right now for a few minutes, or whatever. But that same methanol, just rubbing it on your hands, a certain amount of that is going through your bloodstream, and it's poisoning you.
It's really scary too. We did this. If you put hand sanitizer on a plate and then you light it on fire, you don't see the flame. Did you know that? It's a trip. I don't recommend anyone do that, but I never knew that. And it burns you really bad, too. I learned that lesson with my science lab.
That's why.
But no, it was really cool because I was showing my kids, if it gets really hot, it can catch on fire. I think some people's cars were actually catching on fire due to leaving that in the car.
That's why you'll see at the sprint car midget races, the guy will be dancing around like doing the cha-cha or moving very fast, and you don't know why, because you can't see the flame because it's alcohol.
What was that thing when we went to the drag races that you made me do? Where you stand behind and get all that?
Oh, that was nitromethane.
That was stupid.
Oh,
that's what that was. That was stupid.
That's basically nitric acid under compressed natural gas is how they make nitromethane, which was a rocket fuel way back in probably the World War II days.
Jim writes in, Steph has a lot of free time. I don't, but I wanted to show my kids some little science tricks. It was cool.
No, you can. You can pour alcohol or methanol or ethanol or light it on fire, and you won't see the flames, but you'll start feeling the heat real fast. That's why it's potentially more dangerous per se of in a flame because you can't see it. Like with a gasoline,
it's scary.
It'll go poof, and you see the orange flame and stuff. And unless it's in the daytime, now at night you'll see the alcohol flame. You'll see the blue.
That's what we did. We turned off because I was showing them. You can light a paper towel on fire, and you're not going to see the flame. And then you turn off the light, and then it's like I think it was blue. It was neat in a terrifying way. Right? Disagree with me.
Wait, and I thought I wasn't doubting Kelly Victory when she said Fauci was recommending 2 masks, but I just wanted to get the confirmation on it. This is Market Watch. The U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention has not issued official guidance on double masking, but there's a picture with the aforementioned $400K plus that we are paying this dolt. Dr. Anthony Fauci, Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, on that. It just makes common sense that it likely would be more effective. Anthony Fauci, the Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, on double masking. Dr. Anthony Fauci says 2 masks are better than 1. Remember a year ago, masks were totally ineffective against this stuff. Now they are. Why anyone would believe anything that came out of the mouths of this Klondike clown, I have no idea. One day, no mask. Well, then you got a mask and all that. Well, then we did that. Coronavirus died down. Now it's coming back after they made us put all the mask mandates in. Coming back worse. Well, now maybe it just makes sense that you wear 2 masks. Do we all have stupid tattooed across our forehead?
I think most do.
I'm beginning to believe that. Why anybody? You should be calling up the White House and that goofball Ron Klain as chief of staff, which will play the video of him in a minute. Going on. And demanding that you get rid of Anthony Fauci before he does any more damage to the country and the world as he has already done. What more, even the Center of Disease Control, which is no bastion of common sense, as Anthony Fauci says, has not issued an official guidance on double masking when they were doing the same thing. Well, masks are not effective. Well, maybe they are. On and on and on. We're playing this whole game. When do we... Who is all of us... You know that Olivia... What is her name?
Olivia?
Olivia Singer.
I think that's someone different than the young lady right there.
Amanda Pravda in 2 masks mean everything. Are we seriously that stupid?
But I think, honestly, if people feel like wearing 10 masks is going to keep them safe, then go for it. Hey, that's good for you. But don't make it mandatory for people that don't even want to wear 1. That's where I think people are getting pissed off. When is it going to become to where you can do what makes you feel safe or what you want to do in the world? Like, what the hell ever happened to that? Did we used to have that? And I saw this photo today of people eating at a restaurant in 2019. It was crazy.
Wow,
it was like
concept.
it was like freaking history.
Yeah. Oh, remember when we did this?
You know what was freaking heartbreaking though? Honestly, we're driving back today from school from picking up some curriculum that the school was passing out, and my son was like, "When was the last time I got to see my classmates in person, Mom?" And I was like, "Oh, that's coming up to a year." He's like, "It's been forever. When do I get to go back to school?" It's like I wish I could give him an answer.
This is on Cron, Channel 4, and hopefully we can. Well, let me run this thing on and see where we are on the blower. Let's start it at the beginning. Okay, let's run this KRN or CDC guidance on reopening schools.
A report that shows the limited amounts of COVID-19 found in schools that have reopened and are following the established guidelines to prevent spreading the coronavirus. Cron 4's Hazik Madioun has the story.
The data now shows a way forward to return to in-person learning in schools during the COVID-19 pandemic. That is the conclusion reached by researchers at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, who published their opinion in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The accumulation of data was collected from international schools as well as schools here in the United States, both with similar findings.
Kids are not the primary drivers of COVID. In fact, they're really underrepresented in infection rates and certainly mortality rates.
The director of UCSF COVID response, Dr. Gene Noble, describes the results collected in 2020 from 11 fully open school districts.
There you go. Dr. Gene Noble from the University of San Francisco saying this on top of everything else, so you can tell your kids it is not anything based on science and data why their schools are closed. It's all politics.
Do I have to say that? They're not going to understand that. What child is going to get that? But then, yeah, I'm at home teaching my children how to grow up to be mature adults that are going to follow the rules and not be liars and cheaters and thieves. And then I got to explain what's going on in the world. That's not justifying what I'm teaching my kids. Maybe that's what went wrong. Their parents didn't teach them right. We should be blaming their parents.
This is a parent who stepped up, and I hope more are going to step up to their school boards. This is in Loudoun, Virginia. This is a parent who steps up at the school board meeting that's trying to keep, with the teachers' unions all across the board, of trying to keep your schools closed. Here we go.
You will be fired from your day jobs because if your employers knew that you were more inefficient than the DMV, you would be replaced in a heartbeat. I literally just finished a conference call because I'm having to multitask to be here to address you guys. You're a bunch of
Mi familia y yo tuvimos un año de retos.
Here we go with the. Let me roll this and see who's rolling in on my deal. No, we got to run this guy.
It goes with our day today.
Yes, everything. Again, I said everything that can go wrong. Let's get rid of this. Okay, we'll get back. Here we go.
I think you're some sort of martyrs because of the decisions you're making when the statistics do not lie that the vast majority of the population is not at risk from this virus. The garbage workers who pick up my freaking trash risk their lives every day more than anyone in this school system. Figure it out or get off the podium, because you know what? There are people like me and a line of other people out there who will gladly take your seat and figure it out. It's not a high bar. Raise the freaking bar.
I'm going to give staff an opportunity to make sure that the podium and microphone have been.
Please wipe it down ahead of time, please, because we don't want anything to affect us.
Sir, your time is finished. Can you please leave the boardroom?
It's okay. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I'll be back next time. And the next time. To open the freaking school!
Can I ask the deputy to please make sure the gentleman leaves the boardroom?
Come on, I'll walk out with you. There's another one out there. All right, let's walk.
Teachers' unions from across the nation. You get Belleville, Washington's the latest. San Diego, YouTube, whatever the name, weird name it is down there, that was supposed to be opening their high school today. Teachers' unions put a stop to it, suing in court. From Chicago, even Lori, whatever, Lightfoot, the goofball mayor from that, is saying open the darn schools. And she's farther left than Bernie Sanders and Pocahontas combined. Teachers' unions are suing. Teachers do not want to go back to school. If they were, then they should be up there with with that gentleman who has a kid in school who stood up to them and said, let's knock off the nonsense. It's not based on science or data or anything else that these schools are closed. They should be opened up now. And as the gentleman said, if you can't get the job done, get off the dais and we'll get somebody in that can. Just like they did in Belleville, Washington. They said, teachers, you don't want to come in? We're going to put substitute teachers in here. This is madness, has got to stop.
I just want to say I love that man that did that. That was awesome. Can we get his name and get him on the show? Where was that at? What meeting?
Loudon, Virginia school
board.
Okay. This is happening.
That was awesome. But parents, there's so many people that are getting like that. That's how I feel on the inside, and I'm maintaining it. But it's good to see that parents are kind of unleashing that controllably and not violently. But I hope that someone starts listening to that. It's only going to get worse.
Again, like the whole thing, and I've warned the politicians. Look at you. You're packing people into a corner where they think they've got nothing to lose. And the most dangerous living thing is somebody that doesn't have anything to lose. You want to keep egging this on? You want to keep suppressing the people? Then keep it up. Teachers, do we have the counterweight thing?
I have the image on my end.
There you go. Well, we'll put the links in there, hopefully. Counterweight. They are giving you the resources to combat this stuff. Parents, en masse, you should be at your school board meetings at that, addressing them, saying, open these schools up now. There is no scientific data that shows anywhere that we're going to run. Are you going... The damage that has been done to kids so far of this year is unreversible of that, and you're going to keep it up.
Stop it.
Yes, counterweight. You need facts, materials, backup. Let's get it done. Or you're part of the problem. It's line in the sand time. And just as that gentleman said, if you can't get the job done, then get off the dais and we'll get somebody in there that can. Teachers, you don't want to go back into the class? Then we'll find somebody that will. Scientific data that shows anywhere that you are, we're going to run. You liked me so much, you're putting me on stereo.
I figured, why not?
No,
sitting next to you and hearing you all day just isn't enough. I went ahead and put the links in the comment section so you guys can go and check it out and do with it what you will.
See if I can get to the Ron Klain video of that. Here he's being interviewed on CNN.
So I don't know if you heard the governor of Colorado, Governor
of that. Let me see if I can get to the aforementioned part of where we're going. I think this is it. Here's Ron Klain, Chief of Staff of Joe Biden, as the CNN reporter saying, why aren't our schools open?
It's just not happening. I mean, in Chicago, the teachers union voted this weekend to continue remote learning. They were about to open. Town of Montclair, New Jersey, this story came across. Public schools were scheduled to reopen for hybrid learning. For elementary school kids, it'd be the first day of going to school in person since March of last year, 10 months. But then they scrapped plans at the last minute after the local teachers union refused to return to classrooms. Ron, why do you think that the unions in many cases are overruling what the studies show?
I don't think unions are overruling studies. I think what...
You don't have to go any further than that. They are suing in court. They are not back in school en masse everywhere across the United States. And he says, well, I don't think they're doing that. If I was Joe Biden, I would have been immediately on the phone saying, you know what, Ron Klain, you're fired because you are stupid. And I am not having a stupid chief of staff on my watch 1 second longer. Get your stuff out of your desk and get the hell out of the White House. Yet, there is liberal CNN reporterette going on and saying, you know, this is getting ridiculous. My kids are going crazy on this stuff. Can't you, where is the scientific data? And he says, no, the teachers aren't doing this. No, I don't see no evidence of it. What? My head's going to explode.
You want some duct tape?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. The world's gone mad. I want an end in sight somewhere. I think they need to really come up with something to give people hope that the world will open up, the children will go back to school, they can figure out their finances, get back on their feet. I mean, how many families are losing their homes, their businesses, their mind? And to think of all the poor kids at home that are having to deal with those parents that are that stressed out. I mean, that's horrible. Plus all the families that are now separated due to COVID and them just not being able to stand each other. It's horrible. But it is nice to see, though, that a lot of people are going out and doing things and still shopping and going to parks and all that.
You will never see an end in sight or have hope if you're going to deal with dishonest people. And that, how can Ron Klain, after the CNN reporter says schools across and teachers unions across the country are shutting down schools today, and he says, no, that is not the case. I mean, that defies any sort of logic, what the reality of the situation, and it's causing exactly what you said. Then the only conclusion I can come to is this is what they want, to control you, to put you under their thumb, to make you dependent on the government. Do you want to have the government do you really, after you've seen it, do you really want the government, depend on the government to feed and educate your kids, to provide for you a form of living, or do you want to take responsibility for yourself? And that's what we have come down to. If you want the disaster of $31 billion in the state of California of unemployment fraud and liars, and I defy, and Ron Klain can come in here and define and do that. Tell me where I'm wrong, where you said, and you just said that right there, where one of your allies, CNN, said school districts and teachers unions across the country are keeping schools closed, and you say, well, I don't think that's the case. I mean, that just totally, and I mean, I've seen a lot in the world of politics and everything else, and that just totally blows my mind.
Mine has been blown. At least you're not drinking hand sanitizer.
I might.
You got something going for you.
Yeah, I mean, it might come to that. If they keep us going down this road, that might be what we're at. I mean, when the credit card bill comes due for all of the whatever they've been doing the last 10 months, like I say, the $114 billion of unemployment claims paid out just in the state of California, not to mention the $31 million possibly in fraud and that. You couldn't put all those people in jail, even if you wanted to. Much less recover the money. It's gone. You know what, Joe Simpson, lunch bell toting taxpayer? You're going to have to pay it, one way or the other.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, guys. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Sean.
You got 1 minute.
It's crazy, and I'm gonna just bump this one just for reiterance on this. California keeps key virus data out of public sight. Again, they won't show you the metrics of what's going on. Oh,
Because you won't understand it.
yes.
Isn't that what he said?
Yes.
You won't understand it. You won't understand why you're locked inside of your home for the rest of your life.
30 seconds.
So we're not going to bother explaining. Just do it.
Trust us.
Oh, that gave me the chills.
Recall
That's scary.
Gavin2020.com.
But it's for your safety, Roy.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 10 seconds.
AM.com and download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Views expressed are not necessarily those of radio.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM. Broadcasting all over the Inland Empire on the AM airwaves, joining our vast video audience on IE Newswire, on Twitch, Facebook, and
on YouTube. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and share us all over your world, and head over to our Twitch account and hit that purple follow button and follow us on Instagram.
I'm sure most of you probably haven't had these days, but starting in the first thing in the morning, it starts like, whoa, did I just jump off the cliff and am I rolling down to my demise? That's about the fun way of everything has went on today of that. And it seems to be in our national politics, our national deal. And maybe we're going to do the article about men and women, but this is that. As important as politics is, or what we talk about a lot on this show anyway, and a lot of others do.
Talk about politics?
Well, once in a while. Culture drives politics. And it's really the culture we have been in the past few decades that has led us up to the point. This stuff just didn't happen overnight. Between the relationships and the interactions between men and women and the sexes and the battle and equality and racial and 1619 and this is a racist country in 1776 or the greatest country ever in the fighting and the deal and just the boiling down to the disingenuous that we played the clip earlier of Ron Klain, chief of staff of Joe Biden, after the CNN reporter said, my kids are going crazy. Teachers' unions all over from coast to coast are keeping our schools locked down, closed, and subjecting us to this distance learning. What do you have to say to this? And he says, I don't see any evidence of this. I mean, it's stunning. That's even almost as stunning, or maybe what is equal, as the $31 billion in unemployment fraud and counting in California. And on and on and on and on it goes. We played the clip from KORN4, San Francisco, saying the CDC and Dr. Noble of San Francisco University said there is no credible evidence and no science or data that schools should be closed. Yet we're doing irreparable harm that kids will never get back. Absolutely, 100%, positively ashamed.
Heartbreaking.
Yes, and heartbreaking and any other adjective that you can come up with.
Especially for the parents that don't have multiple. I mean, I have 4 kids, so they all entertain each other. But think of that child that's at home by themselves.
No wonder the suicide rate of kids has just skyrocketed, and just the on and on and on troubles that we've had. But we're going to bring back our longtime guest, who we usually have on once a week. She's the editorial writer of the Press Enterprise, San Bernardino Sun, Inland Daily Bulletin, Redlands Daily Facts, and probably a gazillion more newspapers across Southern California. But more important in my mind, Vice President of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, your last bastion of hope between getting totally buried in California. Susan Shelley, welcome to IE Newswire with Steph and Roy.
Thank you very much. Great to be with you. How's everybody?
Great. How are you?
Doing absolutely
Okay.
fantastic. I couldn't be better. You obviously didn't hear the first part of the show. But that's a story for another day.
Just thought I'd try to be a little more cheerful.
Yes, and hopefully it is. No, I mean, from the whole deal, I want to get to the Tuesday. It broke. There's the audit of the unemployment department. I want to get your take on that. So
Yes,
up to $31 billion in fraud, $114 billion in claims paid out of unemployment in the last 10 months. What was it? The general slush fund budget of the state of California for the whole year was only supposed to be $120 billion, and we've almost paid that out in unemployment claims. Tell me this is not going to be the disaster of all disasters for California's Susan Shelley.
Well, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Some reporters who've been following this think it's going to go to $50 billion. And this is just terrifying, because where is that money going to come from? You know, when the last projection was done last October for the Unemployment Insurance Fund, it said at the end of 2019 it had a $3.3 billion account balance. So it was in the black, $3.3 billion. And then projected for the end of 2020, in the red, something like, $1 billion projected deficit for the end of 2020, and $48 billion projected deficit for the end of 2021. But that was before anybody realized there was $30 billion in fraud. Where is this going to come from? You know, this is more than twice as much as the split roll was supposed to collect. This giant tax increase, biggest property tax increase in California history, was going to collect less than half each year of what this fraud is. So this is on a scale we've never seen in California, and it's because the Unemployment Development Department dropped all of its safeguards, all of its checks to see whether people who were signing up for the money were actually the people they said they were, and were being truthful about anything, and they just got the money out the door. And a lot of it came from the federal government, but I don't think that's going to cover all of it. And this is just a catastrophe. We'll never get that money back from fraudsters. This is horrible.
What's even worse is Tom Lackey, assemblyman from up in the Palmdale area. Back in September, he's getting reports from his constituents by the droves. We're getting cards, unemployment cards, the whatever, like EDP, credit cards or whatever, however they're doing it now, going back and forth, doing... constituents are saying they're coming to our address. What the heck's going on? And then some people are showing up, knocking on their door, saying, "Oh, I got the wrong address," and some of the people handed him over. He takes them to the unemployment of the state of California, and he can't get through the door. They won't answer his questions. He has to leave them with the guard for an answer. And this is 3 or 4 months ago?
Well, this should have been caught before it started. The governor was warned that this was a risk, and all the states knew that this was a risk, and the other states didn't have this level of fraud. They put it in place. Keep an eye on things, but not California. We're just enabling criminal enterprises right and left. And the really sad thing is that people claimants, but were overpaid because of the incompetence of the department and got more money than supposedly they should have gotten. They're being asked to pay it back. So after the kind of year they've had, with all the financial hardship, and they finally get their unemployment benefits, and now they're going to be done for it to pay back the overages, which is horrible. The whole thing is just so mismanaged, and the only good news at all that you can see out of it is that it's likely to result in this governor being recalled, and that would be good for California. So
yes, and Tom Lackey said the unemployment, people were trying to turn it in, saying, yeah, we made a little extra side money, which employment, and they said, don't send us the documentation. They followed the state's orders, and now they're punishing them for Employment Development Department's own orders. I mean,
you gets worse and worse.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. It just gets worse and worse. James Gallagher, the assemblyman from the Sacramento area, said that in Chico, they've got people in homeless encampments who were getting unemployment checks because EDD said that collecting cans and recycling them was a business, and now they were out of business. So they were entitled to unemployment because scrounging for cans was a business. And so there were all of these claims from people who said that they were recycling cans, and that was everybody. And all these giant checks went out, or debit cards, or whatever they are. And it's, the state's trying to blame Bank of America. Bank of America is blaming the state. This is for a state that fancies itself as so sophisticated technologically that it can have its own prescription drug program, and it can have its own mask deployment program, and it can have all of this green energy and lead the world in high technology. These people can't tie their shoelaces. This is just a disaster.
Please get out there and sign the petition. www.recallgavin2020.com.
.org.
Yes.
Yes. We cannot have this guy in office one more second. He is doing such hopefully not irreparable, unreversible harm to the state of California and its 40 million plus citizens.
Well, I think for some people it really is irreparable harm, because for some of these businesses that have gone through all their reserves and then some and gone into debt to set up, like these restaurants that have spent thousands of dollars that they didn't have to set up outdoor dining areas, only to be told that they had to close again and they couldn't recoup any of it. I mean, this has just been brutal. And fortunately, now they're going to be allowed to reopen, even in Los Angeles County, which has been the most difficult to deal with. But the peculiar thing is, nothing changed in the science. Nothing changed in the statistics of how many people were in the hospital or how many cases there were. This is just out of the air. It looks totally political. It just seems that if it's not motivated by the recall, it's motivated by the fact that Trump is finally out, which may have been the goal of the whole thing, which is very distressing. To manipulate people's lives and destroy businesses this way, and a whole year of school and maybe another year of school for all these kids. Unforgivable to do this for politics.
And to have the, as I call him, the Mortician, Health and Human Services of California Director Mark Galley stands up there after Newsom makes the totally, like you said, but based on no science and arbitrarily in our modeling and all this other gobbledygook, stands up there and says, well, we're not going to release the information to you because you're too stupid to understand it.
Yeah, that was too much. As much as they've been playing along with all of the propaganda, I think it's propaganda, they've been, dutifully reporting whatever the government says as if it's gospel. That was too much even for them. To say that science is secret because the public's not smart enough to understand it was too much. That's just an outrage. It's just an outrage. The people who are in politics are not rocket scientists. Not to put too fine
Understatement of the year.
But for them to say that all the people who work in tech and engineering and in the universities and all the people with advanced education and just plain common sense can't understand the statistics of how many people are in the hospital and how many beds are available, we can't understand that? Really? It's unforgivable. And this whole vaccination rollout, Newsom owns that. He even said that the flu vaccine is distributed in what he called a bottom-up manner, where it goes out to the pharmacies in the whole community. And he said, but for the COVID vaccines, he decided that it would be better to have command and control, and to have that to prevent what he called variability, differences from community to community. Well, how's that working out? Now they're scrambling. They just announced today that they're going to try to have Blue Shield take it over. Here in Los Angeles, the superintendent of the LA Unified School District wants to know why the schools can't be vaccination centers. He's been trying to get them authorized. They have school nurses. They're in every community. No one has to drive for 3 hours, wait in line at Dodger Stadium. Why aren't the schools giving out vaccinations? It's been done that way before. They're licensed to do it. No. Governor will decide when you're going to be able to do it, and it's going to go through the county offices, and the counties are going to just gaze at their navel and decide that today left-handed 77-year-olds are on the priority list. And, it's unforgivable. Unforgivable.
And there's probably no more probably important column that she ever wrote. Americans must not let freedom of speech slip away. This is more important than at any time, I think, that we've ever faced. Because if we allow, with all the censorship and everything is on and proposed going on, then all of this is going to be a mute point from this point forward. Go on and explain your column, Susan Shelley.
Well, what concerned me in the freedom of speech arena is that instead of just saying people who don't like a company cannot buy that company's products, what's going on is a swarm on Twitter contacts all these companies and says, you, the store, cannot carry this company's products. So it's not just a boycott where people choose not to buy it. They want to make sure it's not available for anyone to buy. They want to make sure that these companies can't get bank services and internet platforms, that they can't do email, that they can't do Twitter. They want to cancel people. And why? Well, in the case of the MyPillow company, it's because the CEO said that he thought the election was stolen. Well, that's his right to say that. And if you don't want to buy a MyPillow because he said he thinks the election was stolen, you don't have to buy a MyPillow. But on what basis does he get permanently banned from Twitter? And Bed Bath & Beyond, Kohl's, Wayfair, and some other companies probably all say, well, we're never going to carry your products again. And this swarm of cancellation, McCarthyism types of cancellation, wash over him because of a political opinion expressed in his personal capacity. He wasn't embroidering it on the pillowcases. It was his personal opinion.
Yeah.
So if we're going to do that, and the justification supposedly is, well, this is what the Capitol rioters believed. Okay, so now are we going to go backwards? And every time there's a violent incident, we're going to go and attack everyone who ever said anything that sounds the same way? And here's the dangerous part. Because of technology, you can find the list of who donated to a candidate or an elected official, or supported a ballot measure, or opposed it. You can get that list downloaded to an Excel spreadsheet right on your phone in 15 minutes, because all the donor information is disclosed. And there's a proposal in Congress to disclose the donors to nonprofits. So let's say you donate to a group that supports the Second Amendment, and there's a shooting. And now we're going to go backwards, and we're going to find everyone who ever said you have the right to own a firearm, and we're going to blame them for the shooting. We've seen this before. So you download all this, and then you call all their employers and say, how dare you have this insurrectionist, terrorist on your payroll? And you do that on Twitter. And you make everybody upset. The shareholders, the customers, the bank, everybody gets tarnished with this broad brush of being associated because of what they said, not what they did. And if we go down that path, we will set this whole country on fire politically, because we will be trying to silence people from having any political opinions, and at a tremendous cost of economic reprisal. It will just create this Soviet society weather, because even though weather is going to get you in trouble, climate change people won't like whatever you say, and they're going to get you canceled. We can't go on like this.
Yeah, if we lose not only the right, but the ability of people to discuss or debate positions, like Rand Paul said to George Stephanopoulos, your job is to present both sides. If I believe in election fraud, you can have somebody that doesn't, and we can discuss it, put our facts up on the table, and let the people decide. But when you run the big lie and you try to run Hitler propaganda like Joe Biden has done and George Stephanopoulos and everybody else has tried to do, then you are stepping into this dangerous realm of all of that, of censoring speech, or if we don't like what you say, we're not going to debate the facts, we're going to browbeat you into the ground until you submit. And that's the danger I see of what's coming.
And it's very dangerous. And they're only trying to do it to the right. The Democrats only want to do it to the right. They don't want to do it to anyone. Just to take an example, if you have an incident of terrorism where someone who is Muslim cites the Quran and shoots up a whatever, an office full of people, are you going to go backwards and say everyone who's a Muslim, everyone who reads the Quran, everyone who's ever quoted anything similar is now a terrorist? Of course not. Of course you're not going to do that. And are you going to do it if a postal worker goes crazy and says, I'm upset because the post office doesn't treat employees well? Are you going to go back and find everyone who complained about treatment at the post office and say, you're a terrorist and we're going to get you canceled because we're concerned that you might grab a gun and do what this guy did? Of course not. So on what basis are they going to say, well, anyone who says that they're concerned about ballot security is a domestic terrorist suspect? That's very troubling.
It is, and that's the whole danger behind this, and why, and as I tried to segue into that, and that's why I say that column that you wrote about, if we lose our freedom of speech, everything else, the dominoes are falling, and, it's basically all over as a free society as you known it. And if you want to see any example of that, go to Russia, go to China, and everything else. If you want to live under totalitarian rule, that's what happens when you lose that right of free speech, and then that second right, that to keep and bear arms, which keeps that first right going on that. And that's what we are heading down the path. How this turns out, we'll all live and learn and find out how it's going to go.
Hopefully learn.
Yes.
I don't know if we're learning anything yet.
I don't know if we're learning, but I can tell you that there are a lot of people who are feeling this and unnoticed. We're not going quietly into the night, and there's always another election. There's another election in 2022 for Congress and for governor coming this summer.
Yes.
Most likely.
Yes.
There's always another election, and unless they're all going to be fixed and fraudulent, we will be able to make our case to the voters and prevail on this, because everyone in this country wants to live in freedom. Well, I shouldn't say that. Not everyone does. Some people want to be told what to do.
Right, yeah.
Even they have their limits on how much they'll put up with. So I think this has been a terribly difficult 8 or 10 or 12 months, and everybody's lost their minds, but we will recover, and things will get better. They will get better. I have confidence in that.
I hope you're right on that one. Tell them why they should join Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association.
So we can make it better faster. the only organization in California that does nothing except work for the taxpayers. We work for your interests as a homeowner, as a taxpayer, as someone who's worried about the future of California. Join the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. We will keep you up to date on what the legislature is doing, when you should pick up the phone and call and yell at them, which is many times. You'd be surprised how often it really helps to pick up the phone and call the legislature at the key moment when they're about to vote on something terrible. We will let you know. And this is the organization that protects Prop 13, that keeps the 2/3 vote for tax increases, that protects you when these things are on the ballot. This is the organization that goes to court and sues city governments when they pass illegal taxes or try to put fees on your bill that are not legal. This is the organization you want to belong to. This is the one. HJTA.org, HJTA.org. It's only $15 a year to be a member, and even if you don't want to do that, sign up for the email alerts and be an informed voter in California. Strengthen the voice of taxpayers.
Thank you, Susan. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you, Steph. Thanks, Roy. Bye.
Take care.
And I know the hyperbole all the time. This is the most important election, or this, that. It's probably going to be more important that we band together and join organizations like Howard Jarvis Tax, and have to pay back 104 rising every moment. And we didn't get to the Biden proposal of $2,400 a month. You can't, you can't sustain this, everything's free, or this stuff just keeps going on and on forever. Eventually, the day of the bill comes due for that. And if you don't have the money to pay for it when the bill comes due, then your world comes crashing down in a big hurry. And we cannot no longer, we need to have an honest discussion about this. We can no longer, if we're going to have any sort of society, tolerate the blatant lies, treating us like we're 2-year-olds. We're too stupid to know anything. Just trust us. If one mask doesn't work, put on 47, and you. I mean, come on. I mean, we're getting to the. I mean, this is making absurd. The definition of absurd look like tiddlywinks.
It's freaking insane. I want the schools to open back up. I am kind of hopeful, though. I feel like they might maybe in spring. Gavin's freaking out. I think he's going to open up the schools and realize that was a huge mistake for keeping them closed for so long. Let me have my moment. Don't ruin it. I like how you're staying silent and you're just slowly laughing. You don't think so?
Keep hope alive.
I do think so. Watch, I bet you anything March, they're going to be like, oh, let's open it up. You want to make a bet? Let's do a wager.
We'll think of something.
All right.
It's a bit too hectic a day.
I know.
We'll be back tomorrow on whatever it is, Friday.
Wow.
Till then.
We're gone.
The proceeding was a paid program. Views.
Can I beat Sean? Can I beat him? I don't think I'm going to.
All right, guys.